I will be moderating today's discussion. So as for this discussion, we will start a brief introduction about the project. Next, our speakers will share the ideas and answer the questions. And lastly, we will open the stage for everyone to have their questions answered. For the project presentation, AI NEXUS is a series of dynamic panels where we'll have expert speakers share insights and thoughts on AI-related topics. So last week, we tackled the AI and future of education, and this week, we will talk about the AI and future of work. And to talk about this subject, we have with us David Timis, who is an expert in global communication and public affairs manager at Generation, which is the world's largest employment program. He is very passionate about preparing individuals for the future of work. He specializes in reskilling, employment, and technology. David brings a decade of experience from roles at Google, L'Oreal, and BCW, leveraging his education in business and management and European political and governance studies. We also have with us Miguel Martin, who is an award-winning global startup investor, mentor, board advisor, and ecosystem builder. He is specialized in international growth, expansion, and fundraising, as well as impact innovation and investing. He is also very interested in empowering non-tech citizens with innovative and accessible AI, no-code, and automation skills and tools to boost the digital inclusion, employment, and entrepreneurship globally. Miguel is also the president of SDG Science, Tech, and Innovation Committee at the World Business Angels Investment Forum, the Spain national leader of for the Entrepreneurship World Cup, and also the founding curator of the Global Shapers CV. And since we are celebrating today all women worldwide, déjà joyeuse fête. Amina, we have with us Amina Daoud, the founder of Hello Data, a data tech startup. She is specialized in driving SMB growth through data solutions with 6 years in data strategy, analytics, and digital marketing at Sense, KPMG, and CLabs. Her AI background is backed by 2 research papers, and she is very, very passionate about the tech and business intersection. For the speakers, so do you have anything to add?
No, so good so far.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, guys. I haven't butchered your presentation or anything.
David is here as well.
Oh, hello, David.
Hi, everyone.
Bonjour, David.
A bit late. Yes, I'm here.
No worries, no
Okay.
worries. Sorry you have missed out at the beginning, but yeah, I think so. Now we will start presenting our sessions. So it is a fact that artificial intelligence is a very, very hot topic at the moment. And one of the first ideas when you talk about anyone about AI is how it could steal our jobs and affect our businesses. So yeah, we have based the statements for today's session on some few articles that have tackled the subject, such as 4 common misconceptions about AI and many, many others. And before starting the discussion, I would like to invite everyone to type their questions in the chat throughout the session, so the speakers would have the chance to answer them in the Q&A session. Oh, Abdani, could you please? Thank you. So for the first statement, and since, as I already said, it's Women's Day, Sarah, what do you think about this statement? Will AI lead to mass unemployment?
It's Amina, not Sarah.
Amina, sorry.
Okay, I thought maybe somewhere.
I was reading Sarah just sent a message.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries. No worries. Well, actually, this statement leads me to think to something my co-founder says a lot on a daily basis, actually, which is AI will not take your job, but someone who is working with AI will probably take your job. So maybe I will initiate with this thought because this leads us to think about, job obsolescence is not new. It existed since forever. And maybe the most recent significant one was the Industrial Revolution. So will AI lead to the disappearance of some jobs? Yes, it will, but it will also lead to the creation of new ones, such as previous disruptions did. So yeah, this is my thought about this statement. I will let Miguel and David say more probably.
Thank you, Sarah. Miguel, so what do you think about this statement?
No, I think it's well, first of all, it's possible to see the how to see faces than instead of the presentation, or you prefer to keep the presentation on the screen because it's a little bit weird to to be talking in a Zoom without saying the
See the
watching the
face.
people. But anyway, regarding the question, is the how to say, no, I don't think that it's going to lead to mass unemployment. I think that basically is the how to say it's a tool for increasing productivity. I'm talking about the generative AI. That is the kind of AI that I know better. Because I imagine that deep tech AI and very advanced AI maybe will be replacing some the how to say it technical or technology work in the future or in the present already. But generative AI, I think, is a way for democratizing how to say digital skills for everyone everywhere, and is providing the how to say it's more like a booster of productivity for people than both technical people or also non-technical people that I think that until now has been excluded or underrepresented in the digital economy, and AI is allowing all these people to be how to say much more active in the digital economy.
Thank you, Miguel. Great insights. So, David, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that I agree with both Amina and Miguel in different regards. First of all, I like that Amina mentioned Andrew NG's quote. I think he was one of the people who mentioned this anyways, that it's not AI taking people's jobs, it's people who know AI that will. And to kind of couple it with the point both Amina and Miguel mentioned, that this is definitely an exaggerated scenario of saying AI will lead to mass unemployment. But what I see in my studies, in my research, is that yes, indeed, AI will increase productivity. Yes, indeed, there will be people, hopefully even amongst us in this call, who are using AI co-pilots or agents, as they're now increasingly called, to do their work better. But that will mean one person can do the job of three, which means that it will lead to unemployment, and that this is a reason why I'm very much involved in this race to reskill as many people as possible to make sure they will be on the winning side at the end of the day, and not on the side of indeed people that will be displaced from their jobs and face risking being not just unemployed, but as Harari said, in very dramatic but realistic terms, a useless class, a class of individuals that is without a job, potentially living on subsidies from the government, and who's also not skilled to fill in any new upcoming tech-related job or in-demand occupation. So that is a real risk, and that's where I think, yes, we should try as much as possible to give access to these AI tools to as many people in society as possible and to empower as many people as possible. I think that's where all of us, we agree that the more we give access and we make these tools inclusive, the better the chances that humanity has to, on average, be better off with these tools than without them.
Thank you, David. It's great insights. So basically, AI will lead to some change in jobs, but because of the increase of productivity, but also will create much more chances for other people to take on. Great insights. Thank you, guys. So for the second statement, AI systems are completely unbiased and objective when for selecting the candidates. So we are talking about HR and recruitment, and AI systems are used in basically every recruitment session that we are facing these days. So about that, Miguel, would you please share your insights?
Well, first of all, I don't agree with the statement. I think that last week or this week there was some how to say problems with Google Gemini, and was how to say generating images that was unpolitically correct because there was some bias. in the, how to say, in the algorithm. So I think maybe the bias is going to be less than we can say if applied to be by humans, but it's going to continue always. It's going to have a small percentage of bias in the selecting of candidates. By the way, a few years ago, I had been a headhunter for technology business during I was doing my MBA in Manchester University. And I think that how to say, selecting candidate is not only a question of technical, we can say, knowledge or hard skill, but it's also other things like soft skills or personality fitting with the culture of the company. And that is going to be much more complicated for AI to analyze that kind of soft factors or personality factors than the, how to say, the technical knowledge of the potential candidates.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Miguel. I mean, sorry, David, what do you think?
Yeah, again, I agree with Miguel, and it's indeed all these technologies, or we have to always remember, as much as they're incredibly powerful and cool, they're designed by humans still at this stage. I say still because there's increasingly the chance that more and more of the software we use and the technology we use to be coded by the technology itself. But where we are now, it's based on what human software engineers and data analysts are doing, and based on their own biases, which are there. And indeed, it's going to be still the case for the foreseeable future. And in particular, in the recruitment world, and I'm a career coach, and I see this quite often from the other perspective of candidates using AI chatbots to write their motivation letters or their CVs, which is already raising alarm bells in the recruitment world, simply because, well, first of all, that makes them receive a lot of useless, basically, letters which are not written by the individuals they're trying to recruit, and which a professional working in HR or a professional career coach will always be able to tell the difference, if not from reading the motivation letter, then from the interview themselves, because it's quite easy then to figure out if somebody lied in the motivation letter, even without AI, if you ask them and test them in the interview to figure out if it was true or not. But I see this as an issue on the other side as well, of more and more candidates using them mindlessly without actually seeing what they can do with these tools to not copy or cheat in the process, but actually enhance their own writing skills and write better motivation letters. Because you can indeed ask these tools to rewrite certain paragraphs or to give you ideas, brainstorm with them, but in no shape or form you should copy paste, which is unfortunately the first knee-jerk reaction of most people. It's easier to copy paste than to think for yourself, and these tools will make thinking more accessible to more people. Almost, I think it's that we see a democratization of thinking, which makes me really take a step back and say that in the future, in which we have maybe not even democratization, a commodization of thinking, and when thinking will be accessible on demand based on a few clicks, then the people who actually have the best-in-class examples of deeply thinking, of strategic thinking, will be the winners of the day. And this, going back to the AI systems and bias and so on, having the recruiter with a lot of years of experience will still be able to detect issues in an application, and vice versa. A person designing these tools who has biases, as much as he or she has the best intentions not to put them into the tool itself, it's still going to happen. So there's no clear-cut solution for either of the challenges, in my view.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Amina.
Yeah, sure. Second, like both what David and Miguel said. Maybe what I can say to complete is that it means that a model is created somewhere. A learning we are building a learning, and actually it's very similar to the way we learn as a human. So to get back, like more specifically to your statement, if we talk about HR, if I, Amina, like learn how to hire, for example, from a wrong book containing bias and wrong ideas about how I should lead an interview, for example, and how I should select candidates and everything, well, I will learn something wrong. So I think we can basically think about it as the same. So actually, I think we also need to be aware that our word is biased. Like the way we do our jobs are the ways we do our jobs are biased. So building AIs, unbiased AIs, means as well that we are trying to achieve a kind of an ideal, something that we are already challenged at as humans. So as long as AI use the same data that contains bias, either in like for selecting candidates or whatever other scope, actually, bias is one of the most important challenges when we talk about AI models. So yes, it will be quite challenging, but the most important thing is that we give ourselves the means to take this in considerations while building the models and assessing the biases as much as we would assess the model performance, for example.
Thank you, Amina. Thank you, everyone. Such great insights. I basically don't have the knowledge to debate with any of you guys, but personally, I think that AI could be objective if, as Amina said, the models were trained properly. And yeah, that's about it. I hope to see an objective recruitment from now on. So the third statement is, will AI outperform humans in every task? David, please.
This is the risk that many leaders in the space are looking at when they talk about AGI, artificial general intelligence. So I cannot say that this is impossible. It's very possible. It's actually now more possible than ever based on the latest developments of technology to reach such a goal that might have seemed unrealistic a few years ago. That being said, we're still, I think, some years before reaching that potentially. And I say potentially because you never know. In this space now, as we've seen, one breakthrough tomorrow can change everything. And we are in this moment in which I think there's this famous quote in which sometimes, in some weeks, decades happen, and this is exactly the time we live in when it comes to developments in AI. And yeah, I think currently it's not such a risk, but in the near future, there might be that we have what they call AGI, and then there's AI that can do most of the human tasks better than humans, maybe with the exception of the emotional side, which online it can definitely replicate emotions, but until you can put AI in a robot that behaves like a human and then also mimics humans' emotions, people will still prefer on at least human-to-human, face-to-face level to communicate with other humans. But even that's subject to change as we see developments in robotics, not just from Tesla, but other startups coming up now and funded by big tech companies that are showing a lot of promise in robotics as well. So yeah, that's my perspective.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much. Amina, what do you think?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I just shared a link if you're curious to see it, like a post by Gartner, which is a mapping of tasks where like AI could outperform people and vice versa. But I think that the more AI will be present in the workplace, the more the mapping we have of the tasks, the capabilities that we have today will change and will evolve. Basically, yes, we can be outperformed when it comes, for example, to processing speed. A machine will for sure process things way quicker than I or any one of us could do in terms, for example, as well of memory. we cannot easily recall things that are like in, for example, a process of a decision making. We have high cognitive capabilities, but that are still limited when you compare them to the like the performances that a machine could bring. AI will also be consistent, because for a certain model that was trained in a certain way, it is expected to give consistent results over time, and without being impacted or influenced by, you know, moods, emotions, special contexts, and everything. So yes, we can be outperformed in this, and it's good because we basically have time to do something else and to focus on other things. But in all the tasks and capabilities, as David said, related to problem solving, to critical thinking, to creativity, even if Gen AI exists today, but it's still like when it comes to really create new things, human is needed. Human power is needed. So yeah, these are my thoughts.
Thank you, Amina. Thank you. Miguel, please.
I think that it depends the kind of task that we are talking about. I think that maybe in technical things, obviously AI will be how to say, taking more and more significance and outperforming humans maybe in the, I don't know when, but in some point in the future. Other things like creativity or passion will be much more difficult for AI to hopefully to replicate the human, how to say, for example, I don't know, about cooking, how a machine or will be able to cook like our mothers or like our chef or like that kind of thing. Other things obviously will be more difficulty, even if other things, sorry, I think that the AI could be more performer than the people, but we are not allowed them to take the lead. For example, in politics, personally, I think that sometimes will be better than our government will be in AI, even if there is obviously some ethical and other kind of cons and negative thoughts about it. But with in many countries, having a AI ruling the country could avoid, for example, corruption, or could avoid how to say, mismanagement of how to say, the resources, or establishing the ground priorities for the society. So I think it's going to be a different way of developing in AI, outperforming humans, independent the kind of task that we are talking about.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you. And thank you guys for your wonderful thoughts. So for the next statement, Alhani, please. How can we make AI technology more accessible to a wider range of businesses, including startups and SMEs and everything in between? Amina, please, could you please start?
I love this question. You know, because at Hello
We've
Data,
seen your post, Amina.
like, because at Hello Data we aim actually to bring data, to bring tech to small and medium-sized businesses. When we talk like about accessibility, it means something more accessible in terms of budget, but also something more accessible when it comes to operations. Because when you go to an SME or a startup with a huge AR or data project, because you know, when we talk about AI, it's to keep in mind that it is highly related to the data you have, the data you can use. So the thing is building tools and solutions that are designed for smaller or companies that have a smaller size. is important. Technically, it is more difficult. Why? Because well, it is well known that the more data you have, the more accurate will your model be, the more things you will be able to do. So in terms of technologies, we can think about, you know, there is, for example, transfer learning, which takes some fields in which we have a lot of data availability and try to do a part of the learning in this, then to transfer the learning to smaller scopes where data is not available. But what I think is really key, especially for SMEs, is data organization and quality. Working on data, on organizing the business data, on knowing its value, on considering it as an asset, on improving its quality, on seeing its potential. This is like fundamental if we want to bring AI technology to SMEs and startup at some point. Even if I think that SMEs and startups are really different, because maybe a startup can be an AI startup and focused on one scope, and it's like it's the main focus, and it's okay. But for SMEs, at least, it's really important to start to care about how data is managed. Data governance as well is key, so we can start to build AI tech.
Thank you, Amina. Thank you. David, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I think AI technology per se, the applications, the large language models are made available. I mean, we know Meta that has open sourced its large language model, which is now powering many of the applications being put together by different startups. The bigger question is, how do we give access to smaller companies to the computing power and infrastructure of the large tech companies? And that's a much bigger question. And that's somewhere where I think there are companies now in the US that have bought smartly GPUs from NVIDIA before they were the sort of a hottest product in the world. And they are subletting access to GPUs now to smaller companies at a sort of a discounted rate. There's incubators that have done this also in the US. So I think there's more that needs to be done, maybe from a governmental perspective, for subsidies or in partnership with large tech companies, to give access to startups to the computing power that at this stage only a few companies have access to, and probably I can count them all on the 10 fingers on my two hands. So 5 or 6 in the US and 3 or 4 in China. So that's how we are now. And I think access to this computing power is the key to give more companies, more startups, access to more than just, you know, the large language model, but actually the computing power behind it. That's my take.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Miguel, please.
No, I also love this question. I couldn't stay the full hour talking about this topic. How to say the same than I was commenting before. I am focused on generative AI. So as a way, I think AI is going to totally change the way that startups are built. For example, I'm giving a master class of less than how to build your startup in less than 1 hour. That, for example, I will be doing for UNIDO, United Nations Industrial Development Organization in Bahrain. And basically it's how AI tools can allow to non-technical entrepreneurs or technical entrepreneurs, but especially non-technical entrepreneurs, selecting a good idea, generating a name, generating logo, creating a landing page, generating a form for gathering information from users, generating a simple chatbot. I think that is a way that is going to be the how to say the standard for building startups in the coming months and in the coming years. Doesn't, as an investor, doesn't make any sense anymore than any entrepreneur approach me with a PowerPoint, especially for projects like a SaaS or simple projects. Then they should come with a validated landing page or website and generating specific users. regarding SMEs. I'm doing a bootcamp in Oman for the innovation agency, how to digitalize your SMEs in one week, and it's the same than I was commenting before, but expanded on time. So every day they are learning one specific way of using AI, no code, productivity, automation, and remote work tools. For example, generating more digital visibility of the company, generating a website, landing page, mobile app, and so on. Second day can be, for example, about automation and using automation tools and AI like Zapier and others. Third day is about e-commerce, sales and marketing, and so on. And so I think that this is really how to say, to change the way that the startups are generated, built, validated, and fundraise, and the same for SMEs.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you so much. I hope everyone is taking notes. But even if it's not the case, you will find our YouTube video in our channel. Iman, please share the link later today, where we will put the full session of today. So yeah, for the next statement, Abdulhani, please. What opportunities and challenges might arise in non-tech industries as they integrate AI in their operation? David, please, could you please share with us your thoughts?
What opportunities and challenges might arise in non-tech? I mean, the easy answer to this question is it depends. It depends on the industry, depends on indeed the context. I think to really try to summarize my answer, because there's no answer, a clear one to this one, is that there are some industries that are directly impacted now, and we see this happening in the HR world. We see a lot of disruption happening in the legal, related jobs. A lot of potential disruption, and hopefully it will be disrupted. Finally, education, which is in dire need of some disruption, and AI can be helpful for both students, teachers, and staff alike. In healthcare, if you listen to all of the tech visionaries, be it Bill Gates, be it the founder of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, they're all looking very carefully at what's going to happen in biotech. So AI could start a revolution in how technologies impact medicine and science like we've never seen before. I mean, it's already behind the scenes, the revolution has started. Have you seen what Google DeepMind has done with AlphaFold, their protein-focused large language model, which is helping to see the composition of a protein in a faster way that it would take thousands of PhDs, thousands of years to do it. So I think there's definitely a lot of room for growth and for disruption in some industries more than in others. And again, to summarize, this will be depending on the industry. What are the opportunities and challenges, and the degree of disruption at least in the near future.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Miguel, please.
I agree with David. I think that like I was commenting a couple of questions before, there is some human activities like for example, in artists, then it's going to be much more complicated to obviously it's going to open opportunities, but the challenge of integrating AI in that kind of creativity or passion industries is going to be quite difficult. In some of them, I will say it's going to be even the people is not going to accept it very easily. Like, for example, imagine in the music industry, I imagine the artists are not going to be very happy if AI start to generate music and in their own, and taking the space of some human artists or something like that. Or in the cinema, if avatars or other AI generated images start to substitute human actors, and so I think that it's going to everything in life is pros and cons and opportunities and challenge. So I think that this that opened the ones that are able to integrate this AI in these specific industries are going to lead and are going to, how to say, to open a blue ocean of opportunities for them.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you. Amina, please.
Yeah, well, of course, I do agree with both Miguel and David. It depends on industries if we want to give like a very specific answers to this. But like if we keep it on a high level, you know, opportunities are easy to to think about. When you use AI in a business, you of course have growth opportunities. You can have new competitive advantages. You can think about new services and products for your customers. Sorry, even about customer service. Actually, it can be improved. So the applications are not infinite, but super wide. Actually, I will talk about one challenge. I think will be key in implementing AI in non-tech businesses, which is the culture the cultural aspects or the adoption of AI within the team. You know, when we are used to having some ways to do a job and then you shift completely like how it is done, how you make your decisions, how you think about new things. Like this is a real and a deep transformation that needs to be done in businesses, and I see it as a more important challenge, actually, the technical one. I talked about how I think data organization, quality, and management is really key. So we can start to think about what AI can be implemented in a company. But what is very important, and that is how to deal with the people.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amina. So for the next statement, we have what opportunities and challenges might arise in non-tech what ethical consideration and regulation should be in place to ensure responsible AI development and use in the workspace? To first talk about that, Miguel, could you please elaborate?
Okay, I live in Europe, and I think there is too much bureaucracy and too much, how to say, regulation for everything. So I'm a little bit libertarian, or we can say. So I try to, I like the freedom of people to regulate themselves, but I understand AI is unknown scenario. So maybe we need to have some kind of regulation for avoiding, how to say, difficulties of non-fair or how to say, um, difficult use, groundly use of AI. I think that this is going to be one of the most difficult challenge that we are going to face in the future, because obviously politicians and legislators are going to keep a balance between how the technology is developing and the regulation is catching up. It's going to be difficult, and also it's going to depend from other considerations, like in which kind of political regime you are living, which kind of culture you are living, how developed is the country. So the impact of AI, for example, in emerging markets, maybe could be different than in more developed countries, and in some how to say, in countries with a very strong culture of I don't know, religion or others can be different. So this is going to be tricky, and we will see how it's developing in the future.
Thank you so much, Miguel. So David, Do you have any insights?
Yes, I also, like Miguel, live in Europe, and even more so, I live in Brussels. So probably my allergy to regulation is even higher than average. And I'll also try to be succinct because we can probably all speak hours about this. And this, as opposed to the other topic, is not one that everybody's as excited about. What I can say in a nutshell, because I've been following this space closely, given also my proximity here and knowing the regulators personally. One of them is a Romanian, so he's a friend of mine, and one of the two MEPs that has been the co-rapporteur for the AI Act, Dragoș Tudorache, and his counterpart is a neighbor, an Italian. That's the EU bubble. It's very small. Everybody knows everybody. But what I'm trying to say is that the model that I think works best so far, at least early on in the space, is neither the American pro company, regulate yourself model, neither the Chinese one, which is all about, the government having full power, not the EU model either, which is the EU and Brussels having too much power, is at this stage the UK model, which one probably sole thing that came good out of Brexit is that indeed such decisions that are to do with specific but potentially societal regulation, which is the AI regulation, was taking, they took a very different approach. They said, let's see what existing regulation we have that covers already GDPR stuff, data, what covers privacy, what covers other things that the sort of risks that AI comes with is already covered by a lot of existing tech regulation. And let's not try to bring anything else specifically focused on AI until we actually see what the real risks are. So I think the UK has taken the smartest way about it, at least at this stage. I might be wrong if we see in 5 years that AI turns crazy, and then the EU was going to be probably the more smart one to over-regulate it. But my view currently is that indeed there's too much regulation, and that in the EU and in Brussels, with this latest round of rules that are part of the EU AI Act, which basically are death sentence as a continent for zero innovation when it comes to AI. And we've already seen this. Mistral, one of the few champions in Europe, after pushing strongly the European Parliament to make it less restrictive in their AI regulation, has just signed recently a partnership with Microsoft because they need their computing power. That's the reality. Google DeepMind, which is British, DeepMind was bought by Google many years ago. So the idea is that over-regulation will kill innovation in Europe, and it's already happening. And I think it's hard to reverse this. And I will share for those of you who are interested, I'm not sure if we have access to the chat here, oh yeah, we actually have. I'll share an article I've actually published for the World Economic Forum, in which I actually suggested a few ways on how to regulate AI without stifling innovation, because there's enough examples from both individual member states in Europe and elsewhere that show how regulation can be done to protect citizens but still encourage innovation. So that's where I end.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much. Amina, please.
Yeah, thank you, Miguel and David, for sharing this. It's actually quite different here in Algeria. I hope that we will not take the path to overregulation. What I can say about local contest is that I know that there is what is called the national strategy, like concerning the use of artificial intelligence. Unfortunately, it's not like public, or at least I never had access to it. I just know like its existence. We need actually more elements to be able to not just individually but collectively think about what regulations should be like well decided. For the last years and months, the focus has been done about a law which is the equivalent of the GDPR here in Algeria. So yes, personal data, of course, is being regulated and protected, and the efforts are towards this. So this is the first step. But yeah, I think that this question or statement leads us to, I think it was the second or the third we discussed when we talked about biased AIs. And yes, it is important like to have this such of like high level regulations, but it's also important for each company individually and internally to make sure that when building AI models, we take in considerations ethical aspects. So any bias that could appear, any privacy issues as well. So yeah, I see it as like two main levels that could be addressed differently.
Thank you, Amina. Thank you. I think we have one more question. So yeah, let's try just to answer this question quickly to be able to have David as us for the Q&A part. So what privacy concerns should be addressed as AI is integrated into the workplace monitoring and management systems? David, please.
I was looking for another article I've written about this during the pandemic time, actually, for a more detailed answer, because this is something quite frightening that has started happening more in COVID, which are companies which I would say don't have the proper culture and don't trust their employees, having measured, like they're measuring not just how, the amount of time that the employee working remotely spending in front of a screen, because that can be measured based on, if they're actively typing something. But there are softwares being used as companies that I'm not going to name that even can measure the emotional state of an employee based on the type of music they're listening to whilst they're at work. So I think it really shows you if a company does this, what sort of culture it has, which I would say it's toxic. And there's obviously many privacy concerns there, and I'm not a lawyer myself, so I'm not going to the legalese to discuss them. But as individuals, as citizens that could potentially be employed by such organizations, I would really question your presence there if you are faced, in such a situation, which unfortunately it might happen more often than not now, given that these tools, generative AI tools, can also have this capacity to collate more data, to interpret it, to provide the company with better sense of it. So it's definitely something we should keep a close eye on. And I'll share the article in a second here with more of this on this topic.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Miguel, please.
No, sure. I think that privacy is always a tricky and difficult question in the digital age, and I think AI is going to to be one other layer to then it's going to difficult the privacy. So at the end of the day, it's keeping a balance between if you want to enjoy of the benefits and opportunities that AI allow, and trying to keep a little bit of privacy, but I think it's going to be difficult. At the end of the day, I think that if you want to use heavily AI for your productivity and daily life, in some way you are giving some kind of privacy, and it's a trade-off between the benefit of digital age and the privacy.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you so much. Amina, please.
Yeah, I'll share a quick thought, just like so we can leave some room to the questions. So we talked about all what concerns like human related data, which is sensitive and which we need to handle with like high care. But what might happen actually now that AI-based applications are easily available in the workplace is, you can, for example, ask ChatGPT in a very specific context of a project you are working on, and it can be a breach while you are just formulating your question, and you think that you're just using a tool that will help you like maybe deliver a better outcome, but sometimes we are pushed to give more details to have like more accurate answers, and this can lead to some breaches. So maybe keep in mind this while working with AI tools should be key to secure this. You're muted, Ryan.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. Thank you, Amina. Thank you so much. So, before starting the Q&A, I would like to thank the speakers. So, Miguel, Amina, and David, thank you so much for your insights. And yeah, for the questions, does anyone have any questions? So you could just open your mic and ask it. If not, I have some few questions from the chat. Okay, I'll just go ahead and read questions from the chat. So the first one is from Usama Kouoli. Ethical practices can foster responsible AI. No, it's not a question. We have one from Ranim Amam. No, from Hala Nasya. So Hala Nasya said, can you speak more about using AI in startups? So I think the questions is morely to Amina. So Amina, just start ahead and could you please answer the question?
Sure. Maybe I can at least answer about what we are doing at Hello Data is that we're pushing for AI without talking about it because we work with SMEs and sometimes it is frightening. It needs a lot of awareness and building trust in these solutions. So we prepare companies for it, but we are not pushing for AI yet. But this is very specific to Hello Data because well, this is what we aim to do at the end of the day. But in startups, I think you either use AI as a key technology, like in your value proposition. Basically, all your product is based on an AI model that you own, that you're building, and that you are trying to sell, actually. Or you can use it as any other companies to improve what you have and like to improve your internal processes and improve your productivity as well. So for startups, I think it's quite different. But I'm sure that Miguel and David have more to say because they saw probably like a wider range of startups using AI.
Thank you, Amina. I think Nasia was asking about maybe I'm not sure, but I think she was asking about like specific tools, AI tools that she could use in startups. So could you share any of the tools that you use locally in your startup?
Yeah, for our products, for example, it's more related to artificial vision.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Everything related to OCRs and everything. Why? It's simply because we needed it for one of our products in the market. It was not planned at the very beginning, and we found ourselves working on this last months. But yeah, what I want to highlight, at least it's a challenge for me, is that when you are even as a startup, if you're not big enough, it's challenging for you to build your own models. So basically, I use other models, and we are still not owning our own technology. We're not a deep tech startup. So yeah, if you aim to this, you need to know that you will need a lot of resources actually because you will be competing with the biggest companies in the world.
Thank you, Amina. So Miguel,
I'll just add that if she is talking about productivity tools, it's really for anyone else, ChatGPT and.
Thank you, Amina. So Miguel.
I already read this question when I was answering previously, but I will develop a little bit more very briefly. I think that the AI can be used in all the stages of building a startup. So from the idea generation, validation, even fundraising can be, how to say, you can be much more efficient fundraising or approaching investors if you use AI. For simple things like creating your deck or your one pager, you can use Tome, for example, as a tool. For other issues like, for example, creating a CRM that will allow, how to say, to follow up much better the process of fundraising with investors, or like David was commenting before, generating, like, for example, content much quicker for how to say, for sharing it on the social network, or generating tailor-made personalized emails approaching investors. That also can be quite useful using AI. Personally, for example, I have how to say, almost 30,000 contacts on LinkedIn. And for the last few months, I am not accepting anyone that just send me an invitation on LinkedIn if they don't explain me why they want to be in touch with me, or what is the reason for contacting me. Because if they don't take the time for explaining that what is the common interest or the point that they want to discuss, why I should be, and that is the same with emails or things like that. So it's much better when you personalize or create a tailor-made email. And obviously, AI can't, how to say, is the best way right now for pitch to be more efficient and to save time preparing that tailor-made content or communications with potential clients, investor, and so on.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you so much.
Sorry
So,
to
David.
interrupt, but I think that David needs to leave now because he has other professional commitments. So we will continue with Miguel and Amina. Thank you so much, David, for accepting to be here and to be
Thank you
part
very
of
much.
this discussion.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Amina, for a lovely conversation, because I don't think it was a debate. We all seem to agree on most topics. So thank you both, and thank you the organizing team. And indeed, let's keep in touch. I'm not
Thank you
running
so much, David.
anywhere random. I'm running for training with Google on Gemini. So I'm actually delivering now prompt engineering trainings for anybody interested, powered by Google. So I'm working with Google as a consultant on this topic. So maybe we take it offline and discuss how we can train more shapers and how to use both ethically and efficiently tools like Gemini. So let me know if this is of interest, and keep in touch.
Thank you so much, David.
And happy
Thanks. It was
International
wonderful
Women's
having
Day,
you.
by the way. I keep forgetting, but it's a special day today. So celebrate the women in your life.
We have to. We have to. Thank you so much,
Bye.
David. Have a
Bye.
great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
You
See
too.
you. So we have a
So,
bunch of questions in the chat. I wish you good luck.
thank you. So, one more question from Usama Kulugli. So Usama said, how can organization effectively measure and evaluate success of AI integration in the workplace in terms of productivity, employee satisfaction, and overall? So basically, how could we fix the KPIs and see how is AI affecting the workplace? Miguel, please.
Personally, I think that this is a very interesting topic, and I don't have an answer right now, but I think that there is a startup in that challenge. So if you have found a problem, maybe try to build a solution for that. I will imagine that if people start using AI and become more productive in generating, I don't know, content, answering emails, having the briefing from meetings, and so on, that indirectly could be possible to generate like some KPIs about how to say AI is helping to be more efficient and productive in the work. But I totally agree that generating maybe AI dashboard impact on the work placement could be a very interesting challenge to be solved with a technology solution or a startup.
It will be solved with AI. Thank you so much, Miguel. Amina, would you care to?
Yeah, I really second what Miguel said. At some point, yes, sorry, yes, you need to define some KPIs so you can measure. I'm trying to read again Osama's question, and maybe about the second part about like strategies. So, what strategies an organization implement to ensure transparency and clear communication when implementing AI-driven decision making in the workplace? So yeah, here it's important that any company, whatever the size, needs to have a clear framework of basically sometimes even understanding the decision making before talking about AI and how can AI help to improve the decision making. Just try to understand how what are the decision making processes in my company. How can I map them? How can I improve and optimize them based on data? And then how can I improve and like give really better results based on AI? So yes, there are a lot of resources available. Even at Hello Data, we worked on the data strategy and the management part to suggest frameworks. But a strategy needs to exist, whatever the size of the company.
Thank you so much, Amina. So the next question is from Mario Rodriguez, who I believe is a sci-fi fan, and he asked that what is your point of view of development of large behavior models, so LLMs, for robots? Amina.
I'm not like quite familiar with what is going on in terms of like large models for robots and everything. But yeah, at some point, how I perceive it at least is that applications like in business, for example, maybe in customer service, we for sure agree that like human interaction and in-person interactions are key and are important. But I deeply believe that if at some point we are able to create like creative experiences with robots, interactiveness, fun as well, it really like can give really, really good returns and results. So yeah, maybe Miguel is more familiar with that, but that's it for me.
No, I don't think so. I don't have a clue about that. Told me about business models or startup growth and that kind of thing, but not these technical issues. But I imagine that how to say, in every single field, AI will be impacting more and more and will be simplifying the, how to say, at the end of the day, we are in the AI 1.0, like the first iPhone. So imagine what is the difference between the iPhone 10 years ago and the iPhone right now, or the mobile concept in the beginning and the mobile right now. So what is the difference between the AI today and 10 years will be huge. And obviously, who knows how it's going to be developed.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Amina. And we have one last question from Yusra. And she said that apart from governmental data regulations, should companies add their privacy policies, AI use limitations to protect their data? If yes, wouldn't this be contradictory with the fact that more professionals should master AI tools as it is inevitably part of the future of work? Miguel, would you care to please share this question? So before, was talking yesterday with someone that works at BNP, which is a bank in Algeria, the multinational bank in Algeria, and he said to me that the use of ChatGPT is prohibited in the facilities of BNP, and that's just because of so they don't want to share their data, obviously. But so yeah, Miguel, would you please share your thoughts
I think
on this
Amina is
topic?
better prepared to answer that question than me. But no, I have I totally agreed. And how to say, sharing a company info or data in using ChatGPT or any other AI tool could be a very delicate and how to say sensitive issue because maybe you are sharing information in without knowledge, and you don't know who is really how to say listening, we can say, on the other side. And especially now that we are living the very how to say problematic times with for example here in Europe with the war in Ukraine, and cybersecurity is a major threat right now, increasing. I think that is I think the regulation for the companies of the use of AI within the company is going to be a major issue for every company to be to keep a balance between the how to say the employees increasing productivity, training employees the best way to do it, without affecting the security and the damage that will be possible to generate to the company.
Thank you so much, Miguel. Amina, would you?
Yeah, I will just add that it brings us again to the question of culture. Like, we need to build like cultures that really or professionals who really understand what are the stakes when using AI, meaning what are the opportunities, how can I improve basically my work based on this, but also what are the threats. And you know, like we saw how companies dealt with the GDPR, for example, with the regulations concerning, okay, this is what you need to be careful about, this is the reflex you need to have and everything. So this is essential. It needs to be the same about AI. And then yes, then it becomes more challenging because if you limit, you are restraining yourself, and if you don't, risks are hard.
Thank you so much, Amina, and thanks for everyone who joined us today. This, I think, concludes our session. So a big thank you to Miguel and Amina, and also David, for joining us today. It was a real pleasure having you guys with us. Miguel, go ahead, please.
No, just to say thank you for the invitation. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully will be the first of many. And also hopefully next time will be in person in Algiers. I will be in Tunisia in April or May after Ramadan.
In May, yes.
And by the way, Ramadan Kareem, or Kareem Ramadan for everyone. I know that this weekend started this holy month for all the Muslim community. So if I go to Tunisia and I see the opportunity to jump to Algiers, I will let you know. And keep me posted in case that you feel that it's good to meet in person if I am there.
Thank you so much, Miguel. Thank you so much, and we will be very happy to have you with us. Amina, I think, is here. Amina, are you in Algiers?
Yes, please come.
Okay. So
Yes,
first
I am in Algiers.
we need to first meet with Amina since she's here, and then we'll be ready to host Miguel. So thank you guys for such wonderful session, and yeah, see you next time.